Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Shed Sessions. But I'm not actually in the shed at the moment. I'm at home because I'm going to be doing a video on stovetop coffee makers because I love it. That's good. I've had this one for years. So I'm going to be taking you through my tips of the trade and have some really nice coffee, and you can watch me drink it. Once again, this is brought to you by Capulus Roastery and the Daily Grind. I'm Jono. Okay, so your stovetop espresso maker has three basic parts. You've got the base or the pot, you've got the steam outlet and the vessel, basically, and you've got the basket where the coffee goes. And at the bottom you'll see a little mesh filter, and that's there to stop all the coffee grinds coming through. And obviously it's boiling water that pressurizes, obviously because it's boiling, creates steam. Steam then travels through the pipe here up into the coffee, and then all the way up through to this, and boils over and brews your coffee. It's very old school. It's basically what Italians do and did. To be honest, I'm not sure if they actually invented it, but I wouldn't be surprised. But it's very, very common in European countries, is this method. And I love it, mainly because you can just make anything you want, really. You can make a weak coffee, you can make a strong coffee, you can make a really heavily brewed coffee, and you can make anything you want, really. And it gets the most out of coffee without actually having an espresso machine. All right, so I'm going to take you through what to do, and we'll get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get my coffee. Now, just for the purposes of the video, I've got some espresso ground coffee, which I've roasted. It's the Southern Hive blend, because I've got that of my own. I just had it lying around, so I used it. Espresso grind, espresso roast, and what we're going to do is we've got that ground, got that ready. First thing we're going to do is fill the base or the pot with cold water. It is important that it's cold water because then you get an even heat rise. You don't get if we boiled a kettle and then put it in and then put it on a flame, there'd be lots of different heats going. There'd be cold metal, there'd be high heat from the base, and there'd be this internal temperature of we don't really know, basically. So use cold water and then let the whole thing heat up together, and that's just basically going to give you a better brewed beverage in the end. Okay, so I've got my water in there. Now, as you can see, I actually haven't gone all the way to the top. Basically, you want to make sure that no water comes through the basket when you put the basket in, because it just sits in like that. Yeah, if that was full to the brim and I shoved that basket in, water's going to go everywhere. Just want to keep it clean because my dad will get angry at me if I make the kitchen all messy. And I want to have a good coffee. So what I'm going to do now is just place that on the stove, and I'm going to dose my coffee. Okay, so I could totally just go through a ratio and say we want 40 grams of coffee in here, and we're going to brew it for 4.5 minutes, and that's going to yield us 380 mils. But at the end of the day, when I would get up in the morning, and if I'm not going to the roastery, I'm going to make a coffee here, and I'm way too tired and not functioning to weigh out the coffee. So this is my little method, and it works very well for this method, this coffee making method. You'll get an even distribution and an even extraction, and you'll get a good tasting coffee. Okay, so what I'm doing is just spooning coffee on to the base, and as soon as I cover it like that, I can't see anything more, I'm just going to press it down with the spoon, like so. And it doesn't have to be firm, just press it down. Then I'm going to go and layer it on again and press it down. And you'll find that, especially if you're using a spoon, you'll get a well in the middle. It's totally fine for this kind of coffee making. It's not an issue at all. And then I'm going to layer again, but just with one spoon this time. So basically, I don't really want to go over the edges. One, that'll be messy, and two, there will just be too much in it. You won't be able to seal the vessel onto the base. Right, so I'm just going to push that down. So basically, we're up to the edges, right, but we're not over full. Right, you can see there's a bit of a lip there. Now, look, 4 teaspoons is approximately 20 grams, so we've got approximately 30 grams in here. So now, basically all we need to do is screw on the top. As you can see, there's a thread in there, and we screw it on, and the seal, like so. Nice and tight. There we go. And we're ready to start brewing. Alright, so flames on, high heat, doesn't have to be low to high or anything like that. Just get the flame on it and start the brewing process. This is I think it's a half a litre vessel, so like a 2-cup one. They come in cups. You can get 1 cup, you can get 3 cup, you can get 2 cup, you can get 6 cup, you can get 12 cup. Right. Basically, for this size, so for half a litre, for 2 cups, you really don't want to brew it for more than 5.5 to 6 minutes max. If you've got a really dark roasted bean, you only want to brew it for about 3 minutes. Right. If you've got a lighter roasted bean, say you had filter roast coffee and you ground it for espresso, you could definitely do that, right? But you need to brew it for a little bit longer to pull those flavours out. But I've got espresso roast because that's what I do. So, and that's what I've ground it for. So yeah, it shouldn't really take any more than 5.5 to 6 minutes. What would happen if I just walked away now, had a shower, went to the bathroom, got changed, did a few other things, fed the dog, all that sort of jazz, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, if this was still going, I'd burn the crap out of it. Right? It would overbrew and it'd be bitter, horrible tasting coffee. So if you use this method, just got to put the timer on, put the oven timer on. That's what my mum does. Just put the oven timer on. As soon as that goes off, they're really annoying. Just come and turn it off. So within about 1.5 to 2 minutes, it's already starting to boil. Right, there's already liquid coming out of the top. Remember, the base is it's small, so no matter how much water you put in there, there's not much space, there's not much room to go because it's just got that little pipe to come up. So it will pressurize quite quickly. Hence why you don't want to overbrew it, because it brews a lot faster than you think, right? It's not waiting for the water to boil, right? Because that pressure is changing, right? And you can hold water at higher temperatures than boiling point when you put it under pressure, right? Hence how espresso is made. Right. See, that's already got some coffee in there, right? And it's about 3.5 minutes away from being ready. So there it is. Boom. It's already come up. You can hear it once it starts boiling at the top. She's done, mate. Really easy, really simple. And you can just let that cool down. Or if you're like me and in the mornings you're really impatient, so I'm just going to take that straight off the heat. I'm just going to pour it straight into my vessel. Oh, another vessel. You don't have to pour it. You can pour it straight into a mug if you really want to. But yeah, I've got a Chemex lying around here, so I'm going to pour it out of the Chemex. Here we go. Boom. Stovetop espresso for days.